We're going to be taking a look at this US Robotics Courier V.Everything business modem. And this is no ordinary modem. And if you know anything about modems, US Robotics is a name that is synonymous with both quality, reliability, and performance. And the Courier series was the cream of the crop. These were preferred by ISPs and in many different applications throughout the 90s. The Courier name goes all the way back to the 80s, but this particular model, the V.Everything, originated in 1994. And this was during the height of the modem wars in the 90s, when you had official standards and proprietary standards coming out from manufacturers that were creating a very confusing marketplace. And so US Robotics decided to one-up everybody and simply came out with the V.Everything, meaning this modem could connect to pretty much anything out there. And so we're gonna do an unboxing, get it set up on a system, test it out, and also take a look at two advanced features that are surprising to find on a modem. So this is obviously not a brand new modem. It's been opened before, obviously, and the box is a little beat up. It wasn't listed as new, it was just listed as open box. So I don't really know the condition of it. You can see the part number here is USR 3453B. And I believe this version was released sometime in the year 2000, based on what I could find on the Wayback Machine. This is our serial cable, so looks like it's a DB25 for the modem side to a DB9 on the computer side. And then next up we have the power adapter. Looks like it outputs 15 volts at 0.8 amps. Here's the phone cable, and it's still in its original packaging. Then this is a ferrite clamp, so I believe this goes around the serial cable just to help prevent electrical interference. On the back, we of course have our on and off button right here. We have our DC jack for power, and then the phone and wall jack connections here, and then obviously our DB25 serial connection here. And we have a set of dip switches here, so you can enable things like auto answer on ring. You can change how it displays the result codes. You can disable the AT command set entirely, and lots of other options here as well. And then this is actually a volume control for the speaker, so this can be adjusted right here on the modem itself. Okay, I've got the modem plugged in, so let's see if it works. Okay, I heard a couple of relays clicking, and we have two LEDs illuminated, I believe CTS and MR. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this hooked up to a system, and we can actually try dialing out with it. We've booted into Windows 95 and it's detected the modem on boot up. So we'll go ahead and pop in our install CD. Windows found the driver, so that should be all we need. The system does have an existing US Robotics internal modem, which is the one we actually installed during our Christmas 2023 live stream. So we'll go ahead and close down RapidCom for now, and we will launch the install CD. The V.9256K standard supported call waiting during data connections, so that must be what this call notification software is for. Phone Tools looks like it comes with a terminal emulator, so we'll definitely have to try that out. And even back in the early 2000s, ads and spyware were already prevalent on the internet. This IBAN utility looks kind of neat. Let's install Phone Tools first. Oh, and bummer, the IBAN utility doesn't work on Windows 95. Okay, so let's do a quick reboot and then check out Phone Tools. We have to do a first time configuration, and we want to try out our new courier, so we'll select that. I used to really hate software during this era that was styled to look like physical devices, but now it just like brings back a ton of nostalgia, and so I can really appreciate its purpose from back in the day. Distinctive ringing was a service offered by telcos that allowed people or businesses to have multiple phone numbers with one physical phone line, and each number could have a distinctive ring pattern. And it looks like this modem can be configured to actually recognize those. All right, let's bring up the terminal. So I'm trying to type something here, but it's not accepting any of my input, even when I enter in AT commands. So I don't think it's just like a local echo setting or anything like that. I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway, let's dial into the Serial Port ISP to actually try out the modem itself. We had to go through 2 negotiations, but we did connect, and it looks like we can access the internet. Let's try the second line of the ISP. We connected at 31.2 kbps, which is pretty decent over VoIP. But now let's try to set up dial security. Dial security, or what's sometimes referred to as dial back security, is a feature that provides an extra layer of authentication over just a username and password. When a call is received, the modem prompts the user for a password, and then the call is actually disconnected. The modem then calls the user back at a predefined phone number for that user account, and the connection proceeds normally from there. This effectively authenticates who is actually calling into the modem, as you need to have both the correct password and be able to receive a call at that predefined number. Dial-back security originates from the time of mainframes, and it was implemented in many terminal servers from the 80s through the 90s. There are more modern devices with special applications that support it as well. But what makes the Courier interesting is that it's just a modem, yet it supports 10 user accounts, each with their own password and predefined callback number. So to get this set up on the Courier, let's just follow the manual and go step by step. Okay, so here's the setup we have. We have an SPA 2102 ATA that has 2 phone lines here, and we've got one connected to the internal modem on the Dell here, and another connected to the external modem, the USR Courier. And so basically the way we're going to have this set up is that when either of these modems places an outgoing call, the software on the ATA will simply redirect it to the other line. And so basically the modems will just be calling one another. So when this Courier modem dials out, it will go to the ATA will loop it over to the other port, and then it will ring on the internal modem here, and vice versa. Okay, so the user manual has an entire chapter on dial-back security and how to get it set up. So I think we'll just go step by step and see what we can figure out. So the first step here is to set up an account for yourself. So this would be like an administrator account. And the accounts are numbered 0 through 9, so there's 10 total, and we're just going to use AT commands to get all of this set up. Okay, so our first step is going to be setting up an account for ourselves, and so I guess this will be an administrator account, and we get an example command here, and we're going to have an AT, of course, and then %A, and then the account number equals a password value, which has a 8-character maximum, and it is case sensitive. and then a few options here, and then the callback number. So why don't we just use this example. So in our case, we're going to do %A0 equals serial, and then we'll specify our callback number. Okay, great. So we got an okay response for that. So let's go to step 2 here. So now we have to identify this account as an administrative account, and we do that with the AT%L command. Okay, so we're going to do AT%L equals PW0. So let's give that a shot. Okay, and now we can set up the guest user accounts. And so I guess we can use the same format that we used originally. So we'll do AT%A and then 1, because we're now creating a guest account at user ID of 1. And we need a different password here, so we'll say port. And that is done. So moving on, we need to enable local security. And this is going to prevent other users from being able to change or erase our settings, which we definitely don't want. It says we must use the and_w command to save the settings in the NVRAM. Okay, but that's not the case with the %A command. It says here it does not require the and_w. So I think we might just be able to stick that on the end. So we're going to be doing ATS 53.2 equals 1. And just to make sure we got that right, ATS 53.2 equals 1. Okay. So now we have to decide which dial security option to use, and we can choose from 2 types of dial security: autopass and password prompting. Autopass is the default form, but that requires 2 Courier V.Everything modems, and so we actually want to get a password prompt. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to actually enable the dial-up security now. So we're going to do ATS 53.0 equals 1.1 equals 1. Okay. Believe that's right. Okay, so we now have dial-up security enabled, but now we need to enable it in each guest account. Okay, so I think we've already done this step here. We do need to use the and_w command again to save this. So I think we can just go like that. Now we need to send ATZ to activate the dial security settings. Okay, so let's see if we can take a look at the stored settings here. So let's see, ATI 10, we can give that a shot. Okay, access is denied, so I guess we need to very cool. Okay. So here is our dial security settings, and it looks like everything is set up and ready to go. And this is crazy. So there might be 79 user accounts. So I guess one way to test that is to try to set up an account for number 79. So there would actually be 80 total accounts. So you can try that with %A 79 equals test. Wow. Yeah, so on this version of the Courier that we have, I think we have 80 user accounts in total. So it must have a larger NVRAM than the model that the user manual is based off of. But anyway, let's go ahead and give this a shot. I'm excited to see if this works. So I'm going to open HyperTerminal. Oh, that's awesome. So we'll try a password of port. Okay, so in a minute and a half, the speaker is making some type of weird noise. Oh, we got a ring. Oh, we got an instant hang up. Well, at least it called back. I'm not sure why it hung up immediately. I guess we can try that again. Let me go ahead and send an ATZ to both modems here. And we'll try dialing again. And I'm seeing a ring on the physical modem, but not in the terminal. Back over to HyperTerminal, we should be prompted. Now let's try our other user account of test. Interesting, so we're getting an immediate disconnect, but I'm not entirely sure why that is. After trying again several times without any progress, I then had an idea. Okay, so I'm going to try 2 HyperTerminal sessions to see if this works, because I have a suspicion that something's going on with the terminal program. I'm going to set auto answer to on both. Okay, so that's saved, so. Okay, so I'm going to try the serial password for the administrator account. All right, it's the moment of truth. Oh my gosh, we connected. Connect on both. Oh, wow. It's working. There we go. So we have a successful connection and it's not disconnecting as it was before. So I guess the Rapid COM terminal program, I don't know if it's a bug or some type of behavior that it's programmed for. It's disconnecting when the call returns. So I'll have to look into that, but it looks like that was all the issue was, right? So now we have an established connection and the courier dialed back to the predefined phone number that was stored for this user. And yeah, we have a connection. So dial back security is set up and working. So one of the neat things that we can do is actually set up remote access now as well. So following the manual here, it looks like what we need to do is set this S register 41 to a value of 1 or greater. And that's going to allow us to access the configuration of the courier remotely. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. So I'm gonna go back over to the courier here. And let me just make sure, yep, we're on the right one. And so I can get into admin mode, and then I'm going to send ATS 41 equals, and we'll save that. I need to now set a remote access password. Okay, so we can set one to view the configuration only or view and change. And so why don't we do this latter one? So it's going to be AT%P1 and then a password. Okay, and we will make sure that is saved. So I think this may actually work with dialback as well. So let's go ahead and try this. I'm guessing what should happen is we connect to the courier, it disconnects, dials us back. Once the connection is established, we should then get a remote access session prompt like this. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. Dial security session. So I'll enter in the user 1 password, and then I'll just enter in the same number here. And so I think what we need to do is 4 tildes, but pausing 4 seconds and then typing the 4 tildes. We're not getting does not seem to have worked. Okay, so I think the mistake I was making, I wasn't pausing for 4 seconds after entering in the tildes. So if you look here, so we're supposed to pause for 4 seconds after a connection is established, type the 4 tildes, and then pause 4 more seconds. So let's try this again. One, two, three, 4. Now I'm waiting 4 seconds. Bam. Type in our password, and we have remote access to the courier modem. And I should be able to do ATI 10. We can look at our dial security. All 80 accounts, ATI 6. That's awesome. So why don't we actually try enabling dial security back on. After you make changes to the host configuration, the remote access prompt changes to a dash to a plus. So let's try that out, and we need to save it. And yeah, we can see now it went from a dash to a plus, and so we need to save the configuration. Okay, and now I'm just going to hang up. All right, so now let's try it with dial back security enabled. So I've enabled it on the Courier. So we'll dial in from the internal Sportster now. Okay, so we have our dial security session. So I'm going to enter in test, which is a user account we set up. And waiting 4 seconds, entering the 4 tildes and waiting for another 4 seconds. We have success now with dial back security and remote administration of the Courier modem. And that's it for the Courier. This modem really is the business, and it's no wonder that it was so popular with ISPs. And we haven't even touched on some of the features it has, but let us know in the comments about your experiences with the Courier series. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.